Okay. Oh, okay. I understand what that meant. Okay. I had a little confusion of themselves at that point. Okay. The way the sentence is worded, it's kind of... I would word it a little differently. Enough to give the minister pause before calling the police. We'll find out right away if you call the cops more or less. So it's possible that there's a mole close to the minister. Several of the high-ranking members who seem to have experience with these kinds of things let out deep sighs. The goal of the perpetrators, their demands, as well as their entire incident are as of yet unclear. But in any case, the possibility that this may grow to threaten national interest is extremely high. If their goal was to simply have their demands met for monetary gain, that would have been nice. However, if this has some politically motivated shakeup, things would get a lot more complicated. Since we're not receiving any cooperation from the victim, that means we're not privy to any of the details or of the threats or demands. Due to the fact that we believe there may be a mole involved in this incident, this investigation is highly classified. Only the people in this room are to know of this. Furthermore, as this case is our utmost priority, we'll be placing a hold on everybody's normal duties. Understood? After that, the supervisor continued on, tactfully explaining our course of action. If this incident were to become public, it was possible that the minister's political life would be over. I'll spare you the explanation of how the rest of the dominoes would fall, but in the end, support in the diet would decline. I don't think that's true. He could easily weasel out of it saying he was just caring about his child. Or that, he wanted his child to have a secure life, but I guess that's not possible with this group. If anything, it can drum support up if you come out against it. Like if you get your child back. They tried to bribe me, but I didn't. Or like try to make me crumble, but I didn't. Especially if the police do it before you technically crumble when you were about to. So I mean, you could definitely spin it either way. It only can help you out. Followed by a no confidence vote in a snap election. And it might even expand communist influences. In other words, we wanted to handle this delicately. Or wait, was it? Yeah, delicately. I don't know why I second guessed myself. Kawasaki and Sakai? Sure. Psyche? I don't fucking know. I can say the other guy, fine. Monitor communications from the minister and the child's residence 24/7. Find out what the minister is doing. Report anything that happens. The remaining members investigate whatever is related to the case as assigned to your units. Focus your line of investigation on the commies, Reds, and Confeds. Don't discount the possibility of foreign involvement either. Oh, this is during the communist scare. At least in the US. Probably during the Cold War as well. 1978, was it? Pretty sure that was Cold War. Or at least part of Cold War. Like, 80% sure? Either way, that's when the communist propaganda coming out, like why you can't be communist. Oh yeah, okay. It was in the middle of it. I've experienced one or two unamicable situations before. This, however, was the first time I've seen things get so hectic. Several sophisticated conversations were progressing without the involvement of a rookie like me. I didn't intend to be timid, but I couldn't hide my confusion at this unfamiliar situation. And cover that. As for Akasaka, I snapped back to the alertness upon hearing my name called. Yes? You investigate the environmental groups that have petitioned the minister. Among them, there's the group protesting the Hinamizawa Dam project that made the papers. Make sure you investigate them thoroughly. I doubt this is the act of some citizen group, but we have to eliminate every possibility we can. Fuck yeah, I would have loved to get that. Because that's an easy job. Even though they probably did it. It's still easy. Because you get to go to a nice little small town. Partake in the villagers. You know, that kind of life. Understood. So those who oppose to the Hinamizawa Dam. It's probably best if you go to the location personally. Get some information from the local authorities. They're a fairly radical organization, so the Public Safety Division there should have them marked as well. Understood. I'll head over there. God, that's so terrible. I mean, I would be so pissed. So pissed if my wife was gonna give birth. And they're like, oh, nah, that's a shame. Go out of town for a while. Your wife, she's almost ready to give birth, isn't she? I apologize for timing all of this, but I'm counting on your cooperation. Fuck you. We can't take our time with this, so we just have to brute force it with our boots to the ground. Yeah, I know. My wife hates to interfere with my work, with her circumstances anyways. Sorry, and thanks. So then, as for Kawasaki and Saikai, to help support your blah 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 blah, I leave. I just open the door and leave. God, I'd fucking do that in a meeting. Like, I'll just say, is that it for me? Yeah, bye. Just fucking leave. So I can get started already. Hopefully get done before my wife gives birth. Get it done as fast as possible. I didn't want to take a business trip when my wife was about to give birth. Even if I was a little busy, as long as I was in Tokyo, I could head to the hospital right away. On assignment, though, that would be difficult. Even so, I knew the work I was doing was important, and fully understood that I was in no position to be so selfish. Fuck her. No, don't. Well, he did. But, no, fuck these people. Come on, it's so important. I'd have to make it up to my wife for having to be away at such an important time. God. It's so important. My wife, Yuki, would probably forgive me with a smile. Aw. She sounds really nice. Too bad she didn't have character art. The only thing she could hate doing would be holding me back. My male ego, though, at least wish she would have tried to stop me. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Come on. Had she said... Because that would be the same. If she's like, oh no, just go. Fuck. Oh, just go. Fuck, no. Had she said, oh, I really wish you could stay. Oh, you want me to stay? Oh, yes, I would love that. Okay, I'm staying. That would be me. But she's like, oh no, just go. No. Stop it. Stop it. Sorry, Yuki. I don't mind if you always complain to our child that their father couldn't come to the hospital when they were born because he was too busy with work. God, I'd hate that feeling. The next day, I took the bullet train to Nagoya, and from there transferred to the train to a prefecture. Getting to my destination by land took several hours. If I was traveling by air in that amount of time, I could probably get as far as Hong Kong. Yeah, not even fucking more. If you give a few hours, you can get really far. The prefecture was by no means close. I never sat in first class except for work, but whenever I did, the seat seemed stiff. Closing my eyes, I mentally reviewed the documents I read yesterday. The group under investigation, the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance. They were a group of residents opposed to the development proposed under the Hinamizawa Dam project. The local protests were quite heated and were getting more radicalized. Even limited to what was written in the newspaper, there was bloodshed that occurred during a clash with riot police, interference with the dam construction, too many to count. The number of petitions, sit-ins, and direct appeals to the relevant organizations were innumerable. As an extension of that, there was a direct appeal to the Minister of Construction the other day. This was the reason why we were investigating this group in the first place. The land that they lived on was going to be submerged, so it was no wonder they would go into a frenzy over it. Even given that, though, could they really be capable of doing something like kidnapping the Minister of Construction's grandson in order to halt the project? From my take on it, I had serious doubts. This kidnapping plot was extremely sophisticated and complicated enough that it was believed there was some political backing. This wasn't something that could be pulled off by some group of local protesters. Technically, if the Sonosaki family is behind it, which I have a feeling it is, because what would be the point of him going there, finding nothing at all? Like, that would be such a waste of a story. It would be so boring. But there's Congressman Sonosaki. So he is a political figure. Because he has, like, some place in government. I forgot what. Which is another reason why Mion and our family is so important that Keiji needs to get a part of it. Well, just like the chief said, the plan was to eliminate all possibilities. While I'm in the police's reference room, taking my time investigating, the higher-ups in Tokyo would probably solve the case. Without my involvement entirely. Even if that were true, I couldn't regret being away from Tokyo while my wife was ready to give birth. This was work. There was really nothing that I could do. Ding dong. The announcement that we would be arriving at our destination soon snapped me back to wakefulness. Gokura Prefecture. Prefectural Police Safety Division. Dona Gafuji's god damn it. The fuck I was going self-defense force. What the hell was that? The Onagafushi Defense Alliance? Yeah, they've been quite active around here. The Prefectural Public Safety Department already had the documents and a cup of tea ready and waiting for me. Fuck that, I just want some water. Just give me a nice glass of iced water. Ah, you're my favorite person now. If you have all the documents laid out, not in a stack, but laid out like one document next, like page 1, and then right next to it page 2, and all of that. Just go into a line so I can quickly scan through all of them without having to flip pages. That would be perfect. The short of it is there are a group of residents opposed to the dam. Really, it's probably better to say that every resident living on the land that's going to be submerged is rising to action, though. Like the old saying, fight to the last. They're a determined and well-prepared lot. It'd be nice if they drew the line at just being a moderate residential organization. The stack of papers they had prepared for me in the documentation room was by no means thin. At first, they were pretty much your average citizen's initiative, but ever since that incident with the riot police, they've really started to heat up. Now they've got a violent mentality on top of growing increasingly radical. And growing in, and becoming increasingly radical. Violent organizations usually indicate ones that enforce their own ideology without regard to the democratic process. The music's kind of freaky though. Oh god. Ah, fuck me. I don't know how to describe. It's weird. That's just weird. Breaking that down, many of these organizations had extreme left revolutionary ideologies. Considering that, I couldn't help but be surprised that a citizens group would end up going this far. Radical citizens movements happened occasionally. It seemed, however, that this group was nothing as trifling as that. They're gonna die. Possibly. Or at least be relocated. That's something to fight over. Sure as hell I would be. If I had a fucking home, well, depending on how much money they gave me, and depending on what Mion told me to do, and what her view on it would be. Fuck it, I'll go either way. Fuck it. It seemed that I would have to reconsider exactly what this Onagafushi Defense Alliance was. The Defense Alliance's demands, in other words, the withdrawal of this dam project, how far would they go to have that demand met? The kidnapping of the minister's grandson was classified. That meant, of course, I couldn't tell the prefectural department about it either. As you know, there were arrests after last week's confrontation with Minister Inugai. There's enough reason to believe that they would use illegal means to assert their demands. I skimmed over the list of the criminal records related to the Onogafuji Defense Alliance recorded in the documents. The contents were all violent, not giving me the barest hint of a feeling that these people were trying to uphold the law. Could you give me a basic roundup of the types of illegal activities the Onogafuji Defense Alliances are engaging in? The chief opened up a manila envelope, fished out several unorganized sheets, and spread them out on the desk. Thank you. Just what I wanted. It seemed that the raids on the construction site are the most common. At first, they were committing relative petty crimes like cutting power cords, jamming locks, and breaking office windows by throwing rocks. Oh, the cutting power cords, that's a dick move. See, what you do is just cut off, the actual, end of it. Then it's like, fuck. Because they probably don't have the tools to repair it down there. They'd probably have to order a whole new cable, and it's like, fuck you. And if they do have the stuff to repair it, if you cut it just short enough of, if you pull it as hard as you can, cut it to that point so it doesn't reach, oh, that's just the ultimate fuck you. Of course, what really happened first were things like demonstrations, sit-ins, and distribution of pamphlets. Lively but democratic forms of protests. However, then the demonstrations and demonstrators and police clashed, which started a riot, leading to numerous injuries and arrests. It was from then on that the Onogafuji Defense Alliance, like their name implies, began to take a more demonish form of resistance. If the raids were frequent, didn't the local police up their patrols? Well, of course they were on full alert, but they were up against locals, There wasn't much the police could do if they were sneaking around under the cover of darkness. Well, there's this great invention. I don't know if you've heard of it, called a flashlight. That really gets rid of that cover of darkness. Wow, you're a fucking genius. You might as well label the entire map of Hinamizawa Village around the damn construction site enemy territory. No matter how alert the police were, the locals would just show them exactly how easy it was to sneak around. Actually, it was after the police upped security that the protesters started getting ever more extreme, as though they were being provoked. Well, they kind of were. It's kind of like the, you want to try to stop us? We'll show you what we can do. That kind of thing. You think this is bad? Wait until you see this. It's obvious. See here, can you tell how things started to heat up? An office set on fire, the destruction of heavy construction equipment. Destruction? Nothing. Throws it away. They couldn't have used explosives. No way. You see, they crammed the gas tanks full of sugar cubes. If they do that, it fouls the engines. Even in Japan, it seemed there had been people doing that to the vehicles of occupying forces right after the war. Compared to misdemeanors like breaking windows, it was extremely violent and aggressive. Well, cutting the power cords, it's kind of like, it's similar. It's on the same level. It can make something unusable. It's not heavy machines. I would care about more of setting the office on fire than fucking destroying vehicles. After being toyed around with to that extent, the local police have completely lost face. The arson was a bit much. After that, the local police drastically increased the number of personnel they had stationed there around the clock. The raids on the construction site quieted down a bit after that. He used the words quieted down, but that was still smack dab in the middle of the list of crimes. See, after that, After they found that attacking that site had become difficult, they started resorting to personal attacks. The first people targeted were the construction workers. After that, there was silence. What was being described to me was a guerrilla war fought in the jungle. Threats and violence against the workers. Harsh words and harsher rocks were thrown. There's quite a list of accusations here, but there's not a whole lot of convictions. Of course not. First of all, there's no witnesses. On top of that, even if we identify the perpetrators, they have alibis coming out of the woodwork. Huh? What do you mean by that? Well, obviously you would... Fuck, I'd have an alibi. Look, if I care about someone, I'm making up an alibi for him. I don't give a fuck. Like, that's just how you roll. You don't fucking snitch on him. You cover for him. You're looking out for the people. Come on. Be smart here. Huh. Take, for example, you're walking around Hinamizawa. When a certain man stabs you with the knife, you remember the person clearly and even know his name and address. However, the knife doesn't have any fingerprints on it and there's no other physical evidence. Well, you'd think this would be a run-of-the-mill case of assault, wouldn't you? In Hinamizawa, though, it's a perfect crime. Everybody the entire village, they're all in on it. To protect the man who is the perpetrator, they'll get their story straight and prepare an alibi. Oh! 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 Oh my god. I just got a fucking answer. Keiichi wasn't in the third game. He wasn't there. They made up an alibi for him so that he didn't commit the crime. Ooh, an answer to my question. He's still crazy. Let's get that straight. He wasn't there though. There wasn't a second Keiichi. There was only one. There was no second world. It was only one. They made up an alibi for him. And that's probably what Mion and Reno were gonna tell him by taking him to that damn site because they were alone. They could easily tell him it's an alibi. People in Hinamizawa look out for each other. We create alibis. We know what you really did, but here's your alibi, and you have to accept it. Oh, it makes so much sense. It makes sense. To that end, they'll probably even forge some evidence. There's nothing they can do but put them on trial. On top of that, there's not being any material evidence. The people testify one after another to cover his side of the story. Any prosecutor would hesitate to file charges. I'm not sure about murder, but if it's something like opening a gash on somebody's forehead with a thrown rock, or leaving a bruise after hitting someone, even if you could single out the suspect, there's enough reasonable doubt to not convict. Every case is without a doubt perpetrated by someone in Hinamizawa, but they can't identify who. Even if they could figure it out who it is, they are unable to obtain enough circumstantial evidence through due process. The villagers were all extremely well informed about this, and so the malicious, vicious, and tenacious personal attacks continued. The victims can't have been okay with that, right? Couldn't they have filed for an appeal? Well, you see, about that, everybody on the inquest committee didn't want to get involved with something so troublesome. They won't stick their noses into anything related to Hinamizawa. The inquest committee is comprised of a random selection of local residents. In the event that the prosecutor fails to get a conviction, they have the power to order a retrial. It's a system designed to assert the will of the people on the action of expert prosecutors in the legal world. In this case, however, being composed of local residents has backfired. They don't want to get involved. Why is that? How do I explain this? You could say they're afraid, since it's a little special there. Special. It's an outcast community. No, it's a little different from that. Well, just think of them as being afraid. It's a little hard to explain it just now. Alright, there's an easier way. Wiping his forehead with a handkerchief, he opened a file labeled as a list of members of the Onagafuji Defense Alliance. The power of the Onagafuji Defense Alliance, you see, is the fact that they can count many people among their members who are influential in neighboring areas. Could you take a look at this? I looked. What I saw startled me. Prefectural and municipal assembly members, staff members of the Chamber of Commerce, and executive of a business association. An executive of a town council association and a PTA liaison. There were far more than a few people, with a lot of say both locally and in the neighboring regions. Around here, you could pretty much expect your actions to be observed by those against the dam project. You said something in its support, who knows how it would work out to your disadvantage. In any case, every town in this area is being held by the throat by somebody from Hinamizawa. The list of the Inquisition members, committee of members, is undisclosed, isn't it? There has to be some measures in place to make sure they'd avoid a retribution now. Well, it's undisclosed, so their privacy is assured, but the person in charge of that is from the Okinomiya Municipal Office. In other words, a local. While you might accept some professional confidentiality, you can't know how everybody is connected. The people from Hinamizawa have a lot of tight bonds in that regard. Bitch, if Mion asked me to fucking rat out fucking the nuclear codes, yeah, sure, have them. I don't give a fuck. Not my problem. Then you know, that kind of attitude. Oh, no, I'm fine with it. Here's a list of people who are against the dam, or who are in support of the dam. Oh, can I have that? Sure. Why not? I accidentally... I can't believe I unlocked my door. I didn't lock it. Darn. Yeah, I'll get in the morning. Hopefully no one steals anything. You know, that kind of thing. Just the slide under the table. You have fun. I don't care. When you consider the obligations and duties people have to the region, the web of information thereby formed is nothing to scoff at. It's not uncommon for housewives in a neighborhood to know which kid from which house is what grade in which school, what subjects they're good at, and what vegetables they hate, among other things. God, fucking housewives say everything. You look at a bunch of, fucking neighborhood dads, they don't give a fuck. Oh, what's that kid doing? I don't give a fuck. You see, there's a Yakuza organization here, with strong ties to Hinamizawa and the surrounding area. It would seem that they are providing full support in these recent incidences. They seem to be proving most efficient. Gangsters? Siding together with the residents opposed to the construction of the dam? It's a little hard to see what their common interest is. It's not that difficult at all. You see, actually, one of the lieutenants in that gang is originally from Hinamizawa. He was adopted into a rather influential family in the village, the Sonozaki family. Which I would have loved to fucking be a part of. You get your life set. Exactly what was this Hinamizawa? I had thought it was some desolate rustic village. However, for some reason they exerted a strong influence on the surrounding areas, and had a strong sense of unity. They would protect their village by any means necessary, even if that meant resorting to violence. The chief had said that they were afraid because there were numerous influential people living there. But somehow I got the feeling that they were afraid of the village itself. There was something clearly different from what I had read in the documents in Tokyo. This was no simple residential protest against the dam. For some reason, an uneasy feeling began to nestle itself at the back of my mind. I chose the most basic way to ask my question. In other words, I directly asked what I wanted to know. Chief, this is just a hypothetical situation, but... This Onagafuchi Defense Alliance, in order to halt the dam project, do you think they could threaten somebody important to accomplish that? The chief replied immediately. It's possible. Truth be told, they have already gone to municipal and prefectural offices, as well as local offices of the Ministry of Construction, and done things that could be construed as intimidation. Several of the workers' families have also reported that they are being followed around by some suspicious people. Interesting. Well, that would make sense. The whole project progress on the dam, they raided the construction site, destroyed heavy machinery, and lighting the construction office on fire. If they didn't have any qualms about doing that, threats and violence against people related to the dam would probably be no problem. But that was it. Even your everyday hoodlum could use threats and violence. However, this time it was the kidnapping of the minister's grandson, an abnormally high level crime. Not only was pulling off the kidnapping difficult in the first place, but so was maneuvering to have the minister surrender to the demands immediately. And there was no way this was the work of the amateurs. Probably not. It probably was the work of people who know what the fuck they were doing. Did these people have the power to enact this large of a crime? That is the heart of the matter. What was the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance, an organization capable of pulling off... God, I completely misread that. Was the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance an organization capable of pulling this off? In order to ask that question once again, I chose the most basic method. Again, hypothetically, do you think they could kidnap a relative of someone of political importance? There's no way they could pull off something like that big. That was the answer I most hoped for. If it was that answer, my work was as good as halfway done. I might be able to get back in time for my wife to give birth. Nope. That was how it was supposed to be. The chief, without a hint of hesitation, replied, "It's definitely a possibility. Because why would you ever want to be with your wife when she's giving birth? Oh, fuck you." Guaranteed. Guaranteed he's gonna basically say that. Because again, why would you want us be there when your wife gives birth? Because, that's too much of a good time. They just might. There's no telling how far they'd go. Sorry, Yuki. Seemed like my work wouldn't end so simply after all. Fuck. Okay, I hope I meet Mion, because that would be adorable. I want to see little, young Mion. Because, I guarantee she's just a fucking adorable. I want to meet her. I really do. I want to see if they give her, a young Mion art, because that would be funny. It really would be funny to me. Oh god, I hope it's true. It probably isn't, but it probably isn't. I want it to be, though. Oh, Akasaka. Good work. How's the information gathered at the prefectural office? It's coming along. Seems they'll be able to meet with their local public safety department, so I'm planning on heading out that way. How's the investigation in Tokyo going? The others are progressing along, but the number of groups we have to investigate are countless. Time isn't really a luxury here. There is no new development at this time. No matter how suspicious the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance was, if they sold their case in Tokyo, my job was done. Yeah. Oh, good news. It's finished. Thank God. Coming to my wife. It looked like my wishful thinking wouldn't come to pass. Hanging up the phone, I let my gaze drift outside the window to the valley of unfamiliar buildings. Akasaka. Yeah, Akasaka. Sure. God, that's such a fucking weird name to me. It's one of those, what's it called? Oh, I don't remember the name of it, but you can spell it, it's the same way backwards and forwards. Palindrome. Pretty sure that's what it's called. A car you can borrow, just return. I'll take you to it, so follow me. Oh, thank you. You could have just told me where it was. He showed me the elevator to the underground parking lot where the battered sedan was waiting for me. That the steering wheel kept drifting to the left is a little concerning, but it would be enough to get me around for a while. My destination was Shishibone City Prefecture, an area under the control of the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance. The Okonomiya police station was right on the front lines. Oh god, fucking Oishi. Oishi, I get to meet the son of a bitch himself. What a pleasure.